How's it going, guys? It's Josh here. Today we've got something a bit special to check out. It's Drevo's latest RGB mechanical keyboard, the Blademaster TE. I've been a fan of Drevo keyboards for a while now. They seem to consistently push out good keyboards. There's a lot of competition in this price range. They've packed a lot of features into this one. You've probably already spotted that little wheel on the side, so let's check it out. So in the box you'll find the keyboard, a keycap puller and a cleaning brush. I've not seen that before, but it's quite interesting. Here's what it looks like. Seriously, in person this looks awesome. It's very bright and I just love the design. Honestly, it can get pretty boring seeing all these RGB keyboards that all look the same. You get the occasional ones that have stupid sculpting or crazy shapes, but then they tend to look quite tacky. Now it's true, there's only so far you can go with budget RGB keyboards. You can backlight the keys, but to have all this lighting around all four edges is pretty cool. I think it sets itself apart from the competition. I've not seen any other keyboards that look like this, which is good. So for me, no issues with the design at all, although this is always going to be personal preference. Build quality. Probably the best Drevo I've done actually. It's really heavy for a 10 keyless. The whole top plate is metal, but it just feels super rigid and solid. There's no bend or flex in the board at all. Unfortunately, there's no braided cable. Now this is something we've kind of come to expect, so it is quite odd not to see it on this model. Although there is a cable routing system of sorts on the back, so that's kind of handy, I guess. Keycaps are okay, they're not double shot, they're laser marked ABS, but it's not like the lettering's going to rub off or anything. It's not been painted on, it is actually engraved onto the plastic. They just don't feel quite as thick as double shot keycaps do. The good thing is though, as far as I can tell, we have the same font across all the available layouts. And it's a nice font as well, not just the bog standard stylized gamer font, which I know a lot of people hate. I believe there are 8 layouts available, so that's a pretty good selection. Something very interesting to mention as well, on the back of the board you'll find some switches. You can actually use these to swap keys around like Alt and Windows and to select a few different layouts. I've not seen this before, but again, another possibly useful feature for some people. There's not really any other options in terms of colours, although the Pro version supposedly has a space grey chassis, although the Pro isn't actually available till December. In this one we've got red switches. You can get it with blues, blacks, browns or reds. The switches themselves are Gateron KS9 switches. I've always loved Gateron switches. If you're not familiar with them, they're basically Cherry MX clones, but just as good, if not better, trust me. The typing angle is quite steep on this keyboard, even without the back legs extended. This was possibly done to make room for the wheel on the side, so you may want to use a wrist rest if you feel it to be uncomfortable. So that's a basic overview of the keyboard. We're now going to talk features. Now of course it's got your full RGB, you can actually change this on the keyboard itself like normal, but we're going to hop into the software that comes with this because it's actually pretty good for once. As I mentioned earlier as well, we have a wheel on the side. It's called the Genius knob and it is pretty genius. We'll need the software to customize this, so let's hop into Drevo Power Console and set it up. Right then guys, so we're now in the Drevo Power Console software, so I'll give you a quick overview of some of the features that it offers. So down the side here we've got 4 tabs. I'll show you what each one of them does now. The first one is customization. So here we can pretty much set any key to do whatever we want. So I could hit the R key for example and disable it. We could give it a keyboard function, set up a macro, give it a mouse function, multimedia window shortcuts. This one's pretty handy. I've got one of my keys bound to launch Steam and that works quite well. And you can also launch a website too. We'll go across to the third tab now. This is the RGB settings. So here we've got all of our lighting settings. So we can have static, which is self-explanatory. Spectrum, that just kind of fades through all of the colors. Rainbow. We can set the direction of the flow, so we could go bottom, we could go top, right or left, so that's pretty cool. We can also change the speed as well if you want it a bit slower. This one I'm not really sure what this one does, to be honest. If anyone knows, let me know, but it has something to do with pressing keys, like it changes color. If anyone knows what it does, let me know in the comments, because I'm not really sure. I've not really spotted a pattern with it yet. Moving on, we've got breathing. This is a bit of a classic effect. It just kind of breathes through either random colors, or you can set it to be your own custom color, which is pretty cool. We've got twinkling stars, which is kind of cool. I like how the light trail moves around the edge of the keyboard as well. We can set it to be a random color again. So got a few options. The next one is reactive, so we just press each key and it lights up. We can change the color, so that's that one. Marquee, I've never really liked this one. It's a bit kind of distracting, but if you're into that sort of stuff, then you might like this. And then we have Aurora. I do quite like this one. It is a reactive one, but the light trail again kind of follows around the edges of the keyboard, which I think looks really, really cool. And you can set your own color, so if we wanted to set that to blue, it should just do blue. And the effects are really bright. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but yeah, it is a particularly bright keyboard, this, so you shouldn't be disappointed with the brightness of it. And then finally we've got custom. We can pretty much here set any key to be any color, so you can see here I've got the E key highlighted, and if we wanted that to be blue, then we could set it to blue. And you can also create your own layers as well, so if we go on to another profile, we can adjust this, so we can kind of select an area, so we could highlight just the WASD keys or the arrow keys, and you can select a color as well. But yeah, you can do all custom stuff, so if you want to light up just a few keys, a few colors, you can do that over here. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it's kind of got all the features that you'd want of lighting. Maybe not some of the animated effects that like the Corsair keyboards offer, because that's a community kind of based thing, but you've got quite a lot here. We'll move on to the Genius knob now. So this is this little wheel on the side. This acts pretty much in the same way that the first tab did, so we have the same options. It's just that this knob offers us like 4 settings, so we have a single click, a double click, forwards and backwards. So you've got 4 options really. If we click it, you can see we get the same options pop up that we kind of got earlier with the key assignment. So yeah, I can see this being useful to gamers. If you imagine you could set like a forward scroll to use a certain item in a game. If you get the muscle memory down to use these, I can definitely see it being quite useful to the gaming community. And obviously you have your other options here as well. Down the side, I won't really go into too much detail about these, but we have profile managers, macro managers, and batch managers as well. I think that's for programmers. I wouldn't use it, but it's there if you would want it. So yeah, that is a basic overview of the software. Obviously on settings we can disable like the Alt tab, Alt F4 and the Windows key, which is always handy. And if you're into saving energy, you can turn off the lighting when the display is off too, and change the report rate. So yeah, the software is pretty good. It's pretty reliable as well, to be honest guys. I've not really had any issues with it. Normally, software I've tried out before with other keyboards has just been awful, but this one is actually quite good. I'm pretty impressed with it. Now, there is one issue with the unit that I received. It is one of the first batch, I believe, so this might have been fixed by now, or it might just be a dodgy unit, but there's a high-pitched hum that seems to come from the board. It's only there when the LEDs are on, and only when all the keys are lit to nearly full brightness. If they're super dim or it's a twinkle effect, you can't really hear it. And also, I'm guessing only younger people are going to hear this, since your ability to hear high frequencies kind of diminishes when you're older, but I can definitely hear it and it is super annoying. Maybe it's some sort of resistance problem. I'm not really an electronics nerd, so if you do know what would cause this, let me know in the comments. That being said, Drevo have packed a lot of features into this keyboard, and it is a reasonable price. The software does work very nicely and is reliable. There's definitely some improvements over previous models. You can tell Drevo are trying to think of stuff that gamers actually want and trying to set themselves apart from the competition. I still don't think we've seen a no compromises budget RGB mechanical keyboard yet, but I think we're slowly getting there. If you want to pick this thing up, I'll drop the Amazon links in the description. Thanks for watching today guys, subscribe for more, and I'll catch you all in the next one.